Horizen podcast. Also, please remember to ask your questions for the team on Menti. The link is now pinned to the top of our spaces, and you should be able to have your questions answered at the end of the call. So today we're going to go ahead and kick off with our engineering department as always. So welcome, Roberto.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Thanks, Erica. Happy Monday. We'll be providing the updates for the engineering department. So let's get started with Zendu. Last week, we were in talk with our partners to start the auditing on the main chain code. We made good progress, so gave a detailed description of the affected code, discussed our design choice, provided all the links and references, so we'll soon be ready to proceed with the formal audit. For the other important topic, management of key rotation, we are working on the proof verifiers, so some modification are needed to manage the rotation of the sidechain, key rotation and sidechain. So we did this modification on the interface, sorting out last details, conflicts, and dependency with the other team. But we are very close to close also this other activity. We are also working on another important topic regarding non-sitting sidechain and the implementation of a solution to manage check of transaction fees. This is ready for internal review. Meanwhile, we have also fixed a number of bugs related to failing bills, estimation of size for shielded transaction, and coin-based transaction. Then, for what regards Blaze and specifically the key rotation management, we are moving forward with the circuit integration and are enhancing the test coverage. Also, volume tests are currently ongoing, and we are now executing on larger instances and with an increased number of forgers. At the same time, all the changes required to run the same test on multiple machines with a different setup are also being evaluated. For what regards the secure enclave architecture, this has been defined by the infrastructure team and working now client-side implementation, and this activity is in progress. Lastly, I want to also highlight good progresses on the sidechain to sidechain design activity and also brainstorming session with the product team to evaluate all the requirements of having upgradable snark circuits on the sidechain. For what regards EVM, first and foremost, okay, the EVM milestone 2 is deploying on testnet. The endpoint access has been shared with a relevant team internally, and so testing activity have started already. Also, we have addressed all the issue clarifications that came out from the smart contract team, and specifically, okay, we have added the missing remote call and focusing now on mempool improvement, mempool handling, and a number of minor bug fixes as well. Then, for what regards the prompt system team, okay, Plonky 2, it's one of the main workstream activity. We do have a proof of concept implementing endless recursion with different configuration. Now we are proceeding working on the next steps. So the next step will be write a comprehensive design document. We are describing interface, design choices, and the essential implementation details of our prototype. We are also working on two important topics. Define the security level in Plonky 2. 100 bits usually is considered across the working team, okay, an acceptable solution, but we want to understand if it's true, evaluate the impact on performances. Estimating the performance to aggregate a number of base proof with Plonky 2 and also writing a Plonky 2 verifier for risk zero base proof. Okay, so these were the main point, and back to you, Erica.
Thank you, Roberto. Now I'd like to welcome Victor and Angie for the product and token mint updates.
Thank you, Erica. Last week for the VM sidechain, there is an important update because we were able to register it in testnet in our second milestone, milestone 2. we found out a bug that came up and was difficult to find before deploying it in testnet because it was about peers that were banning each other, ending up in a disconnection between the two. So this bug forced us to register again the sidechain, and it was completed the deployment process today. We have already tested again another important part that is moving funds with the forward transfer using Sphere, our desktop wallet, to the EVM sidechain itself. The operation went smoothly and currently requires zero padding of the first 12 bytes because of the different length comparing the Cobalt address with an Ethereum account that is only 20 bytes. In the following months, we will prepare a new version of Sphere supporting also this kind of account without having to manually padding with zeros the remaining. The sidechain, the prior one, the previously one, gave us the time to discover this new bug, and it was in the Sparks framework. So in our version of Scorex, our networking layer mainly, and it was the main reason why we needed to register again the sidechain. Anyway, we shared these details, the RPC, URL, and chain ID with some of our partners that starting tomorrow will have early access to our sidechain to help us testing out the EVM chain to understand if something is missing or functioning in a strange way. Anyway, they will deploy their own dApps that are alive already in other networks, like, for example, Ethereum, Polygon. Among what importantly will be deployed, a bridge for your C20 token, and it will be the first time that we will have the chance to move, for example, Rapid Ether or some ERC20 tokens from Ethereum early testnet to our EVM sidechain in testnet. Of course, this testing will be internal, but with the help of our partners, we will share the outcome of the testing. And important to keep in mind is that our current sidechain will be replaced in early January by a new version, a new sidechain that will support also key rotation circuit, and that feature is incompatible with the current sidechain. So we will be forced to register a new sidechain for public availability with the main purpose of public testing. About testing, other activities are ongoing, and we managed to remove another huge performance bottleneck that was related to the memory pool management, and we've made an optimization in the account sidechains that, let's say, all account sidechains will benefit. And there is still another optimization that we are aware that can be done. I will keep you posted with that. Other two big activities that are starting this week, the audit of the complete SDK with the EVM app, and a complete review by the entire team of the EVM of the SDK account. I leave you with the updates from Angie, and back to you.
Thanks, Victor, and hi, everyone. So some updates for Token Mint. We are at the final stage of our audit with the NFT functionality. So we should be releasing to mainnet in the upcoming weeks. But for us, as always, as I've been saying, and I could sound a bit repetitive, but it's very important that our products and tools go through audits before we release to mainnet. So that's ongoing. Also, Sphere is going through an audit right now, and we're addressing the findings of that as well. And I would like to also highlight some of the EVM support work streams that we have going on right now. So we have a sidechain faucet development ongoing. Like Victor mentioned, we want to make it very easy for people and users to claim testnet Zen, either from Sphere and in this case from Cobalt as well. So that's some of the features that are upcoming in the next following weeks. We're also working on updating Cobalt designs and the whole UX UI experience for to support the EVM sidechain project. So those developments are also ongoing. They're currently, some of them are already currently on their feature flag, meaning that we cannot see them right now live, but we are certainly testing them and continuing development on that front for Cobalt to support EVM. Also, some other research ongoing regarding EVM indexer, and this has to do with our backend to track EVM sidechain transactions and activities ongoing. So there's several different work streams to support the EVM project. So yeah, very, very excited for that. And that's it from our side right now. Thank you. And back to you, Erika.
Thank you, Angie. And now for Vano and the BD updates.
Thank you, Erika. Happy Monday, everyone. So we are doing our third round of notifications regarding Zen 3.2.0 update tomorrow, as well as checking with our partners if they need further support with it. We have deprecation of the current version of Zen happening this Friday, October 21st, during night UTC time, and I will be checking integrations again in the morning and follow up as needed, like always. So far, our major partners, including large mining pools and exchanges, are already testing new software. We have early feedback, and it's mainly positive response to support the new version of Zen. That's all from me for today. Back to you, Erika.
Thank you, Vano. And now I'd like to welcome Lucy for marketing updates.
Hello everyone, happy Monday. So a lot of work is happening in the background as we are preparing for the release of our EVM. So one of the focuses is revamping how we engage with our community. Our aim is to better support and facilitate developer activities and also welcoming new users. So in the next weeks and months, you will notice changes in our Discord, how the channels are organized, and increase the level of support from our team. So you will also soon hear about some changes for how this very weekly insider will be done. So the original goal for our weekly insider was to include our community in our weekly team stand-up meetings. And as our project has grown, we feel there is a lot we can add to the weekly insider that will bring more interesting topics and insights, not just from our leadership teams, but also from team members with different expertise. Our partners, ambassadors, and other interesting leaders in the space. So we think the new weekly insider will be more podcast-like. So there may also be changes to the schedule and frequency in order to better facilitate the call. So we will keep everyone updated on the progress and any new changes. So we will also be publishing some of the video recordings of from ZenCon 0 presentations this week on YouTube. So we just received them last week. There are some really interesting presentations and panels. I myself was not able to attend a lot of them in person during ZenCon. So fortunately now I can watch and listen to the playback. So, and speaking of interesting things to listen to, Rob had a live interview with NASDAQ last week and discussed the gaming in blockchain, sports in Web3, and how the metaverse can be accessed and utilized. So you can find the interview on our Twitter feed if you missed that. We also released quite a few new articles on our Academy. So make sure that you follow our Academy on Twitter. We have a separate Academy Twitter account where we post our new articles. So if you're interested in learning more about blockchain and the new technologies, make sure that you follow. That's it for me. Back to you, Erica.
Thank you, Lucy. And I just wanted to let everybody know that there is now a new Punks Discord server. So the server will house the greater Punks community, and it's where you can all go to chat with other members of the Punks community and participate in Punks airdrops and stay up to date on the latest Punks token news. So we'll be sharing the link to that later on today. I highly recommend you all go check it out. You can also go there to provide any feedback you have on the Punks Hero game by Pipeflare, which, if you guys aren't familiar with the game, I highly recommend you check it out on pipeflare.io. It's super fun, especially if you enjoy like side-scrolling platformers like Super Mario Bros. So now let's go ahead and welcome Rob for leadership updates and Q&A session.
Well, thank you, Erica, and to everyone. I'm pretty pumped for the upcoming podcast style type format to these updates. So looking forward to that and can't wait to see what the team comes up with. Guys, I was out last week. You guys probably know that, or maybe you didn't notice, but I was actually out in Milan for a week and I was out there with Zane. And I got back just the night before, so I took a little bit of time off and just wanted to quickly fill you guys in on what I was doing out there, because so soon after ZenCon 0, why was I there? Well, we're actually going through some pretty substantial restructuring of our technology teams, and I have to say there's just a lot of work in progress right now to make everything very aligned and streamlined with some of the big goals that we have. The goals you guys know. You guys, join us every week, and we're launching EVM. We're getting NFTs on Token Mint. We're working on this sidechain to sidechain interoperability protocol. So those things you guys are very well aware of, but what we were doing really was just making sure that we streamline our workflows and make sure the teams are all working on exactly what they should be to maximum effect on our biggest goals. So anyway, just a lot coming down the pipeline there. We're going to be feeding you guys some updates over the coming weeks, so stay tuned. Some of them are very exciting. Well, I'd say they're all very exciting and all delivery oriented and related. So more to come. Speaking of deliveries, you guys just heard that milestone 2 for EVM was deployed to testnet. Yes, we will be doing another deployment of another version of the EVM chain when we have the new circuit ready to go. But this one is being used right now for internal testing and select private testing for partners that we want to go live on day 1. So the sooner we can get people testing, the better. And that's exactly what's happening. And I do have to say, I actually love every time I hear about bugs that we find, because the reality was we're never so good with deploying to live environments so far in advance of mainnet launches. So this is kind of new for us, and it's kind of awesome that the team is uncovering things that realistically in the past we would have uncovered maybe some weeks before a mainnet launch, whereas now we're discovering months before a mainnet launch, so they actually won't impact the mainnet deployment. So doing this right with QA testing is a really big deal, and we're just going to see the effects of this over time. I would say compound, which is a new way of doing business. Also, did you hear from Victor, guys, that we just had our first bridge, or we're getting our first bridge to Ethereum, from our EVM chain? Well, obviously on testnet, but still, it's a really big deal. The fact that we're going to be able to bridge tokens from our Horizen world into the Ethereum world and vice versa. So more to come on that, guys, but huge milestone for us, and many more of these types of milestones forthcoming with this EVM launch. And just the reminder that we're putting together a big blitz strategy for when the EVM is delivered. So we call it our day 1 strategy. Basically, we want to make sure that this is not just a tech delivery. This is going to be a major launch for our ecosystem of a smart contracting platform, Ethereum compatible, bridges to Ethereum, and all of the compatibility of the environment that you would expect in Ethereum. We want to exist here in Horizen. This means things like MetaMask. Means things like Etherscan and other dev tools that you would get in Ethereum. We want here in Horizen, so that this is a very seamless and important launch. And there's a lot of work that goes into that, including this team and partners and other ecosystem participants strategizing on their own together, whatever it is, for how do we make this successful? What dApps do we want to take on? What dApps do we want to encourage others to take on? So there's a lot of thought that goes into it, and we'll be releasing more of the plans to you guys as we flesh them out. Okay, beyond that, the sidechain work is really important, and I think one thing that's different now is that we have just a very well integrated team across functional areas that's thinking through design and then building up the design. So this is going to be a big project for us, but it's something that's going to happen concurrent to the EVM delivery, and we'll see what kind of timeline we can release for you guys in the near future. And also, Zane right now is out in Milan still organizing what we're calling a research agenda for our research and cryptography team, so that we can have just a coherent research agenda that is short-term, mid-term, long-term, and oriented around the broader goals of the ecosystem. So again, more things to be excited about in terms of the big brains that are thinking about how they're going to be supporting this ecosystem. All right, so just going down the list, guys, I know there's a lot to update you on. I'm just kind of repeating what you've heard on some of these, but the NFTs are going to be launched with Token Mint this month. This is, for me, super exciting. Hopefully for you guys, super exciting, and I'm really looking forward to seeing those in my Cobalt wallet. EVM Faucet is actually another thing that's forthcoming. So this is really just for the user experience on our sidechain, in our sidechain world. Of right now you have to go get Zen and do a forward transfer from a wallet like Sphere into Cobalt, so then you could use Zen on a sidechain. We want to make sure that when the EVM goes live, we have as seamless and frictionless of an environment for users as possible, which means we want to have a really nice, easy way for people to get Zen directly in the sidechain environment and not have to do forward transfers, which it could be a little bit cumbersome of our process. So kudos to the team for even thinking about that. And a shout out, just to reiterate what Lucy mentioned, our PR team is pretty awesome. The fact that they can get me on NASDAQ is pretty huge and just shows the professionalism and hard work that these guys are always doing, around the clock. So thank you guys. And that's about it. That's all I have here. I don't know if we want to open it up to Q&A. Erica, I defer to you.
Oh, we absolutely do want to open it up to Q&A.
Boy, I was hoping you pumped on that one. All right.
Never. Okay, so the top 3 questions today. Looks like top question today is, how does this bear market feel relative to 2018? It seems like a financial winter rather than a product winter, i.e., are you seeing more development relative to 2018?
I would say more development, yes, absolutely, because the ecosystem, or just the crypto world, is what I mean by ecosystem, is just much more mature. And this is what happens every bear market cycle. We're starting with higher lows, and we're starting from just a much more mature tech and product environment. So, but I will say, just from my 2 Zennies and how I do view this as a little bit different from the previous winters that I've experienced, is that the macro environment is different, just hands down different. For, I don't know what it was, 30 years or so, we've had a steadily declining rate environment and just a lot of expanding liquidity from central banks, in particular from the 2008, 2009 financial crisis, and they just kept on expanding. Now we're actually seeing a reversal of that, which is a big deal. So the macro environment is substantially shifting from what we've experienced over the last several decades. So I have no idea how that will manifest, but we're definitely in a much better position as a world of the world of crypto, because now you have a lot of real things going on chain, whereas in earlier bear cycles, it was really, I would just say, very much speculation driven on the way up, on the way down. Like when things go too far on the way up, then they certainly come down, then they overcorrect and so forth, and you just see this kind of bouncing around on prices. This seems different to me, and we're certainly taking it very seriously and trying to position ourselves for, real world utility, like getting that EVM chain out there so we can have all that smart contracting activity and real applications going live, but also focusing on what we do different from other ecosystems, which is really on our sidechain system. Anyway, so just a lot to come, and we're playing it conservatively, but we're also fairly well resourced as an ecosystem.
And that last part kind of brings us into our next question really well. The question is Horizen fully prepared for a prolonged crypto winter?
It's a tough one. I mean, because it always comes down to how prolonged will this be? And I'd say we've definitely never been more prepared than we are right now. But that's really also a function of the fact that we have multiple organizations, contributing and committing themselves to this ecosystem. So as an example, we know that we have a public treasury, and the public treasury certainly got slammed with the price of Zen. And that's just a very volatile source of funding for the ecosystem. And for sure, that's down. Horizen Labs, on the other hand, is a very well-resourced company that's committing to supporting the ecosystem. And I would say the company has many years of runway ahead of it, and it's just kind of doubling down on its ecosystem bet here. So really, it's kind of a mixed bag. And now we have other companies coming in to the environment. We have HCC taking on a little bit more of an active role, hopefully in the coming months. We have Tixel coming in as a dev shop. So we've got others coming in here, and that's really nice to see. But for sure, everything depends on how long and brutal of a bear market we have in front of us. But again, like we've been here before, been here, done that, and I would say we've never been more prepared than we are now.
Awesome. And now for the final question. What are the long-term goals for Horizen and Horizen Labs?
Okay, so let's just say for the ecosystem, let's talk ecosystem goal or goals, and there are a bunch of them, and we'll release actual like formal goals with the roadmap, that vaunted roadmap that we always talk to you guys about. But so for sure, the easy ones, EVM to mainnet, huge. NFTs into token mint, really important. So we're gonna have multiple sidechains now as part of our ecosystem. We'll probably launch another EVM style chain, TBD on name and function. But as we're putting together the next big goal, the sidechain to sidechain interoperability protocol, we're probably going to want it to start with EVM chain to EVM chain. And then from there, like I mentioned at ZenCon 0, if you guys listen to that presentation, I'm setting a pretty ambitious goal. I want us to have a dozen sidechains operating in production on mainnet by the end of next year. So there's going to be a lot of work to make that happen, and just a lot of restructuring how we do business, just being much more automated with how we do business, making sure that we're focusing on building blocks that have a coherent kind of like composability effect, so we can launch products that use building blocks that we create in an intelligent way. There's a lot that goes into this type of planning, but I think if we can pull this off, and some of the things that have been ongoing for a while, like the EVM project, for sure, we're going to pull that off, and that's going to launch, and hopefully it'll be a very successful launch with all the other work that we're doing around it. But if we pull off the entire goal or set of goals for 2023, I mean, this should be a very different project by the end of next year than it is today, and than it ever has been.
Awesome. Well, that was it for the questions today. Thank you all for joining us this week. We'll be back again next week. And again, we just want to remind everybody that we are restructuring how we're doing the weekly insider. So we'll be announcing updates as we get those solidified.